Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I'm your host, Scott Ramp, here to usher you into the weekend. It is Friday, November 1st. Halloween was last night. The first snow was yesterday. All sorts of crazy things happening this week, along with the used book sale that's happening at the Historic Museum at Fort Missoula in their Heritage Hall and their T1 building. You guys can check that out. They use this money to raise funds for their education and services at the Historic Museum at Fort Missoula. Go check it out. I'm on the board. I got to give a shout out to those folks. They'll be going in well into Sunday, so you have plenty of time to go check that out and find some nice gems of used books. So we're going to jump right in because I got a lot of show to talk about. The Missoula Current reported on the city approving about 97 acres of a new development. This is going to be, let's see, I just want to double check real quick. This is going to be part of their major plan to create a new neighborhood to increase the demand on private property. Well, let me see. I always forget the name of it. Clearview, yes. So this is up Hillview Way. They're looking to get some interesting things moving forward on there, and they're very invested in the continuation of the Hillview Way Road and the north side. Many of the residents in that area, in the Clearview neighborhoods, aren't too happy about this particular development, and Keith Peterson, resident of the Clearview, spoke about their traffic issues and how Troy Monroe responded to some of the traffic concerns as good enough.
Adequate. So I wanted to know if anyone, maybe this is just a statement, but does anyone know what adequate is? Is Russell in rush hour adequate? I mean, does anyone know what adequate would be given his metric? Because I don't like adequate that much. It just sounds, it doesn't sound like anyone has an answer for me.
Yep. And so with the impact of such a large amount of properties that are being built in there, many people, and including Troy Monroe, spoke on this, claiming that the new neighborhood would feed into the traffic off Hillview Way and create another option for people to use Clearview to avoid congestion, and claimed that the impacts on traffic would be, as Keith mentioned, adequate. Rick Wilson came into public comment with some passion. This is what he had to say.
The absurdity of the fundamental arguments, some of these studies that you guys are having here. I live right where they're going to come in. I've been mowing the grass in the easement in the right of way where they're going to put the thing my lawn guy has for 7 years. They're going to put the access for 500 new residents there, and he's looked me.
Mr. Wilson, make sure all comments come towards me, please. Thank you.
Sorry, but you know,
I understand you're emotional, but please make sure you direct them towards
somebody
me.
looks me dead in my eye and tells me that 500 cars or 500 people are not going to create new traffic. Now, I live right there on that corner, and I regularly see panthers and wildlife and my cameras at night. And that's also something to consider. And, you know, if somebody gives you a line of BS one time, where does it end and where does it stop?
Okay. And that is many of the comments that are throughout this. Fran Turner, also resident in the area, talks about it as well.
And it just seems like you're taking one spot when there are many, many spots around Missoula that don't have those advantages. And building 100 homes and crowding them all together so that when we look out our back door, we just see little houses. And another thing, there is a right-of-way from my house at the foot of that hill that goes up to the ranch. When they came to do their survey, they had no idea that right-of-way was there. That provides lawnmowers to come into our backyard because we're on a steep hill. We can't get in there any other way. Also, we've used it to transport a visitor in a wheelchair who we had to get him out through that right-of-way in the car. It's easy to vote when it's not your home, not your property that you're voting against, but the people who live in that area are very much against this property being used like it's been stated.
All right. And so many of these comments have been dealt with, and the devil is in the details, and much like many of the past developments before the city did their legal due diligence, and although homes will not have the 40,000 square feet per household, the 5,000 square foot house per household minimum will allow for denser development for what will become Meadowview homes. This is roughly 97 single-family lots, according to Dave DeGrampe with the City Land Use and Permits. Mike Nugent, City Council, reflects on the inevitability of develop in Missoula.
The legislature is not only protects private property rights, but what they did last session and what they're looking to do this session is really forcing cities to not only encourage development in areas where it makes sense, but requiring cities to permit more density. And that's something that once the legislature says that we have to do something on that front, like townhouses or townhouse exemption projects, or allowing duplexes in all single-family zone properties, we don't have a choice. We have to adopt that.
Yep, and that's one of the many things that the city has been dealing with for the past couple years. Townhouse exemption projects are one of those things that can be rushed through. A lot of those developments back in the day, they haven't really used the TED model for quite some time within the city of Missoula. It's a developer's paradise in the city of Missoula, and this is a private property, and state law protects people's rights to develop on their own land. It's very cut and dry, and the city is only allowed for denser development based on the views passed in 2018. However, one of the things is that the city rezoned it, and so they do have the opportunity to change things if they so wish to do so, but that would go against counter to what their Our Missoula growth policy, which asks for more density, and so the city moved on, and they moved and they passed this 97-acre lot to be rezoned and then developed for those properties. So anyways, the city attempts to curb overnight camping in city parks with an outright ban in parks rather than an 8-to-8 deal that they made earlier this summer. Kelsey Luna, resident near Paul Rutledge Center, spoke in favor of outright banning people from public parks.
Particularly since the pandemic, my neighbors and I have witnessed increased crime, filth, and hazardous conditions for people and the environment. We have had almost daily trespassing and drug use on our property, frequent noise disturbances in the middle of the night that sometimes last for hours. Residents and property management personnel have been physically threatened when they have asked for people who are trespassing to kindly leave. We have had costly vandalism and theft. We have experienced numerous explosions and fires close to our building and neighboring buildings due to urban camping. There have even been shootings and physical assaults in or next to our building, which can be linked to people who are staying in the pub or urban camping on the island nearby. I'm not saying that this represents the behavior of all unhoused. I'm sad and scared for the unhoused who are just trying to survive and also be respectful citizens of Missoula. At least I have walls to protect me. I'm concerned about my neighbors in the Bruce Blattner apartments who have disabilities. I'm concerned about the youth staying in a home nearby that may have left their own homes due to addiction, domestic abuse, and other afflictions, only to have it going on out their back door.
All right, and so the city moved forward on their plans to have a public hearing to remove that. Kevin Hunt, regular speaker against many of the city's homeless initiatives, spoke on this as well.
Making a criminal offense here out of violations, it still hasn't been explained how the police are not going to be too burdened to respond and do that when there's been this problem just dealing with non-criminal offenses. And I understand the issue with the ruling about it being a civil matter and this and that, but again, I don't see how this makes the job of enforcement any easier. But my main concern is this. What this is going to do is it's going to take an entire category of people, the most indigent people among us, and it's going to subject them to being convicted of a crime, but because it's not providing for a jail penalty, these people won't be entitled to assistance of counsel appointed to them. And the Supreme Court of the United States says they have a defense they can raise of necessity, and that's why they went ahead and overturned the Ninth Circuit.
All right. See, there's a little bit of history lesson right there, and it is the purview of the city council to make these kind of laws and ordinances and other things in place to ban people from certain places to a certain degree. And Daniel Carlino City Council has spoken against this for many sessions during this time. This is what he had to say.
To point out that none of this ordinance would be possible, or the implementation would not be possible, if it wasn't for Donald Trump's presidency and how he appointed the Supreme Court, which overturned Martin v. Boise and Johnson versus Grant Pass. And if those weren't overturned, then this ordinance wouldn't even be constitutional. So because of former President Trump and the far right Supreme Court's decisions, you all are able to pass ordinances like this. So I just wanted to point out that it wouldn't have been possible if you all hadn't gotten the leeway from those people. And I just think it's not right to take away human rights like the Supreme Court recently did, and the way that council is now taking advantage of those newly lost rights.
All right. And so let's go back to my notes. I had to include Daniel because he's been the main dissenting voice on all these updated ordinance that has created less and less space for emergency camping in Missoula. And that's all I want to say about that. That's all they really had about this. And, the public hearing on this particular topic to update this ordinance will be on December 3rd. Originally, they had a plan for January, but certain things have prompted the city to decide to move forward on this. So we're going to jump over to committee meetings with the Climate Conservation Parks. They're talking about purchasing more parkland on the north side to fulfill more of their obligations to have greener spaces in urban areas. Donna Gockler, Parks and Rec, talk about their north side plans for this particular site.
Several years ago, as a community and as a city, we adopted the North Reserve Scott Street project, or master plan. And we also adopted the parks master plans for level of service. And as you know, since then, there's been a significant increase in housing on the north side, and the Villaggio is full of 600 residents with 300 kids. The Rivara is coming on board. Some really cool projects that really align with our housing, our climate, and our equity lenses, which I think are all super important, and we're a growing community, and that's a good thing.
All right, and so part of that is a lot of moving forward of the north side development started with homes and a mixed urban commercial development to expand public use and facilitate future growth. This is an old industrial site, and so a lot of the property that they're trying to look into is just old dirt, unmaintenanced areas that they want to add a little bit of more green space in that particular area. Zach Covington, Open Space Lands Manager, says that this project checks a lot of boxes in their open space bond agenda to move forward.
You all know this is located in a low to moderate income neighborhood with substantial barriers of parkland, trails, and open space. The Villaggio new development north of the property has about 600 residents now living there. The Rivara, which is as you know, is a planned development, if approved and constructed, would have about 309 total units. So that would be increasing the area population by my quick math, around 1,400 to 1,500 new residents. And that's important when we're talking about level of service, as Donna mentioned. Per our Master Parks and Recreation Master Plan, we have a city standard of about 2.5 acres per 1,000 residents for the level of service for neighborhood parks. And currently it's at about 1.22 in the north.
And so far, the city wants to have an even balance between green space and residents living in that particular area. If you read the screen, that means the north side is the parks to people deficit based on the city's own expectation of itself to the Parks recommendation. Urban parkland isn't something that is too common, especially in underserved areas in the Northside community, which has been mostly industrial for quite some time and now being turned into more residential areas. This also shows how much open space is available within the city and their respectful wards this close to downtown area. So Zach Covington talks about its project in a little bit more detail and in this last quote that I have for you guys.
Urban green spaces in the center are a really key component of the open space system in Missoula. On the right, I've cited a few different places in Montana Code Annotated related to the definitions of open space and the eligibility of utilizing open space bond funds to purchase parkland. And per the interlocal agreement, this is also an eligible project. Related to city ordinances, in 1256, section 1256, this is the open space ordinance. It includes preserving land, conservation land, parkland, trails, greenways, views and vistas, etc. So parkland is in there, greenways is in there. And as we all know, per the open space plan, preserving any type of parkland has climate resiliency benefits, provides growth management, and provides a wide range of health benefits for the general public.
All right. And so without further going into the detail, typical open space purchases don't get better than this, and so far this would fulfill so many of what the city is looking for beyond single acquisition, but for public good for a greener Missoula. The city set a public hearing for November 18th for open discussions on this particular item for open space bond money to be used for this particular site to total roughly around $530,000 of the 2018 open space bond funds towards the simple acquisition of the 5.4 acres. All right, as we move forward, we're talking about the annual update for Missoula Housing Authority. So last year they spoke that vouchers run out faster than they have enough money for because of the rising costs of rent. And so Sam Oliver, Executive Director of Missoula Housing Authority, talk about this and more in their annual report, and this is what Sam had to say.
This year, MHA has faced many challenges like the rest of us. We have struggled with the rise in inflation, interest rates, and insurance premiums. Additionally, we've had the welcome challenge of growing our company as we've added 400 units to Missoula's affordable housing stock with the Trinity and Villaggio apartment projects. We're proud to be visionary when it comes to housing our Missoula neighbors and have been nationally recognized this year for our innovations in affordable housing, client services, and special needs housing, and for our efforts to add permanent supportive housing for veterans. In short, the challenges are great, but we're meeting them head on with experienced staff and a proactive vision.
All right, and so there's a little bit of that intro to the rest of the meeting I'm going to be talking about, and we brought in Jim McGrath, who's the Director of HEAD Programs, and speaks about some of the rental insurance as one of the major inputs to getting people into homes.
We currently have 1,200 rental assistance vouchers, give or take a little bit more, and we spend $1 million a month paying rent on behalf of Missoulians to landlords around town directly into our economy. We have a big program, which we'll talk about in a minute, and we have several programs that are focused on special populations, particularly serving our homeless. We have a permanent supportive housing portfolio of 98 vouchers that's funded through Continuum Care. It's a slightly different program. 30 of those are dedicated to Blue Heron, which is our permanent supportive housing project in the Trinity project. Basically, on an ongoing basis, those 98 vouchers are in continuous use. We also have a portfolio of what's known as HUD-VASH vouchers. That's a partnership with the Veterans Administration where we provide Section 8 vouchers and they provide VA case management for supportive services. We have 52 of those. About 38 of those are under lease currently.
All right, and so there's just kind of an idea of how many and how the voucher system has been working here within the city of Missoula, how much is being paid. Many challenges he spoke of was within the VA as it refers to HUD. However, programs like Valor House have been beneficial for vets to build up a nice nest egg to invest in their next home, or often their first home, which is connected to other service through the Missoula Housing Authority. Last year, they spoke that vouchers run out faster than they have enough money for because of the rising cost of rent. So when the money runs out, the vouchers freeze in place. You can see how 30 vouchers today can equate to about twice as many in the pre-pandemic era. Jim, talking a little bit more about money and inflation, the Fed does not keep up.
The federal funding for that has been much lower than rent inflation since about 2020. And so we have been consistently given less money than we need to serve the number of people that we can. So we, through great effort, actually amazing effort on our team, this year we were able to serve 914 families through the voucher program. We would like to serve 1,042, but we don't have the money to do it. We're optimistic always about next year's appropriations, but I think it'll continue to be a situation for a number of years at least where...
Okay, and then we have Sam Oliver, since he's talking a little bit more about the future. We'll have Sam Oliver kind of wrap up the meeting with what their plans for moving forward is. Not to mention the states compete for federal aid and communities compete for aid against each other. However, the entry-level vouchers are areas of focus to get people off the street on top of everything, since United Way of Missoula has taken over some of the rental assistance gaps to the centralized housing solution. HUD is working with youth homes, as many youths are aging out of the system of foster care and have nothing to get housing because they don't have rental histories / parent co-signers if need be. It's not a cure-all, and not many people can get access to these services, let alone this information. Sam Oliver comes back to talk about what is next for the Missoula Housing Authority.
In the coming year, we will be applying for competitive 9% tax credits for the Wildflower Apartments, which is a project that we own. We purchased to save it from going to market rate. We purchased it at a market rate price, whereby the prior owner wiped the reserves, and we took on a project to preserve the affordability for these 96 families. The project now, as we see it, will be a twin of 4% and 9% tax credits, the competitive 9% and then the 4%, in order to provide enough capital per door for the rehab at that project. But it's something we've been working really hard to pull off. We had a large loss to lease when we took over the project, so we've been working with the state. The state knows about our intent for this project, and we're very hopeful after attending the tax credit allocations last week. It was mentioned by the staff of the Board of Housing that Missoula has actually been underserved as far as tax credit allocations over the last 10 years. So with all the work we've done on the front end and made the state aware of the situation, we're very hopeful that next year that project will be awarded tax credits so that we can begin to rehab that project.
All right, so with that project on the pipeline, many other projects after Wildflower, with more plans similar to this, about 2 to 3 years down the line, keeping up and even extending those low-income facilities. So many of these departments and organizations, Missoula Housing Authority budget is roughly $30 million, half from tenants and the other half through through state federal funding mechanisms, the tax credit being a part of it. Family Self-Sufficiency is an organization that provides financial education, childcare, and investment into earned income, saving people roughly $7,100 a year, currently serving over 90 families and looking for expansion. And I won't go into too much detail or end up showing the whole meeting. Family Self-Sufficiency, it's through the Missoula Housing Authority. You guys can check that out. You can ask questions about them. You can go to their website. You can Google Missoula Housing Authority and learn more about this moving forward. So as I wrap up my city council report, I also wanted to mention that Public Works talked about a water main and bridging to Northern Santa Fe Railway wishes to donate a parcel of land that the Missoula City Cemetery has been using for several years. This will cost $2,000 for a survey, and I will not cover this fully because it's just this than that. But up next, we have some promo videos for you guys from the summer camp kids. And since we're just getting out of our horror day of Halloween, I'm going to show you some horror shorts that were made from our summer camp kids.
I'm tired. I need to go to bed. Hey. Skibbity toilet. Level 10 guy app. Riz. Phantom tax. Ohio. Skibbity toilet. Level 10 guy at Riz. Kaisanat. Skibbity toilet. What are you talking about? What the? You. What is going on?
What the Beta? What the Riz? Sigma, Ohio? What the Skibbity Ohio Riz? You're not even being a beta right now. No, he's not even being an alpha right now. You alpha. The Sigma. No, you're the Sigma, Sigma, Sigma. Fine. Take him to Ohio.
Genshin Impact is an open-world action RPG video game available on Android, iOS, PlayStation, and PlayStation 4. We've been trying to contact you in your car's extended warranty for quite some time.
What a great book. Why am I back here? Let's try this again. Not again.
It's not gonna work.
But don't even try it.
Every time we try to leave, we just end up back here. I'm gonna leave now.
Well, there's got to be a way. We have to find something in a book.
I think I may know something that can help.
After our research, maybe if we all leave at the same time, we can escape.
Sounds like a good idea.
Hey guys, welcome back. Let's talk about some movies that are coming out this weekend. It's time for Pre-Critic, where I prejudge a movie based on absolutely nothing but my pre-biases towards just movies in general. Kicking things off is that Robert Zemeckis guy is making yet another one of those trippy movies from the maker of Back to the Future and Forrest Gump, but also Polar Express and the vertigo-inducing film about a French guy crossing the Twin Towers comes the movie called Here, where is a place where they portray an entire history of the world plus a romance drama plot for safety into a single position camera to capture all the gross CGI and de-aged actors who sound their age, pitched up and sped up young and slowed down and practical makeup much later. Enjoy your typical drama heavy story starring Tom Hanks and Robin Wright in a world where they don't really have to act too hard since the gimmick of the movie stays in the one shot throughout the whole entire film. The rural juror from the 30 Rock show comes basically in this movie form in juror number 2. This is a 12 angry men, except juror number 2 is the only important character as he makes a decision to convict or set free the murderer who may not have done it. But, you know, since the synopsis kind of, you know, spoiled it for you, he pretty much has to decide that he's like, oh, he wasn't the killer, and it's probably a thriller. And more than meets the eye and all that kind of stuff, but you know, it's pretty much just him either just in the courthouse with people or inside the back room talking to the jurors. So there's not much to do, kind of like a single location kind of shoot, so it's pretty simple to make. Then we have a bunch of movies coming out this weekend as well. I'm just going to rush right through them with my speed round. This movie is called A Real Pain. Sounds like the movie reflects life, as it's a real pain to sit through a movie about cousins who have lived different lives, but family pressures make them reconnect in this odd couple movie ripoff. Blitz. Citizens must hide underground as the Nazis try to deliver Oscar bait movie to the award show. Only a woman and a kid can save this movie from the Nazis. Then we got Liam Neeson. Once you get taken, you have to get Liam Neeson to untake you, in yet another action flick about a man with a shady past trying to get out of organized crime and shoots his way out. Isn't he like pushing 80? Lost on a Mountain in Maine. It's pretty on the nose with the title, but this movie is more or less on the nose and has a bad dad expect his kids to survive outside rather than play. Enjoy these homeward bound against all odds based on a true story type of film. Finally, we have 72 Hours, two brothers, one cop, another is the bad guy. They join forces to save their family from a kingpin before it's too late. People who made this movie saw that movie Two Guns and decided to do their own version of it. So up next, we actually don't have a dub and stuff for you guys, but we have something a little bit more special for you guys, and it is a okay, let me just get everything prompted. All right, now I can talk to you eye to eye. All right, so the Roll Buds, it's you've probably seen the promos a couple times, you know, fighting against Sick Galley Men and all that kind of stuff where we had our Saturday drop-in promo. We made a Halloween special for you guys. So without further ado, here is animation by our very own Neil Wells and voices by him and myself and written by me.
Hello, I'm Roto Bud. I'm here to be in rebooting. I will teach the team valuable life lessons like sharing, taxes, and how to make wicked cool pizza. I might be old and glitchy, but I have a heart of titanium and I love my robots. So please enjoy our movie, A Very Robust Halloween, initializing Halloween special.
Look, robots, a dark and ominous path. Let's go, robots! I can't wait to see what kind of candy is at the end of the road. I heard something over there. Let's go check it out. Go, robots!
Ooga ooga. I'm a scary demon.
Whoa, Protobud! You scared us! What are you up to, Protobud?
I wanted to scare you because Halloween is about scaring your buds.
Oh, Protobud, you should know that the robuds aren't scared of anything.
Ooh, the robots have no ideas what spooks and scares await them.
I don't know how long I can walk without candy. Yeah, we better turn back. Stand down, robuds. We gotta see this thing through. There's candy to get.
I agree. Green has never let you.
I'll have to agree, if Green actually leads us. If you want to lead, feel free, but don't come crying at me when you get a fun size instead of a king-size chocolate. Please stop fighting. The bad guys would like nothing than to tear us apart.
Ooh, I'm a ghost.
Whoa, a ghost! Run away!
Robots! Fighting the evil Skellymen!
You never steal our Bubble Hill, Skellyman! I will take over the Bubble Hills! Go, Robots!
MCAT Animation Drop-In Workshops every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. located in the Missoula Public Library, 455 East Main Street.
I'll get you next time, Robots! Next time! Go, Robots! Blue? Red? So what do we do? I don't know. Green's the one with the ideas. Red, blue, where are you?
Help, 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 help. Help, 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 help.
Protobud? Not so fast, Fancy Pants.
I have no pants, silly greenie boy. Now prepare to be scared.
Not this, Robud. Green, are you okay? I can't fight what I can't touch. Let's go. We can back them up. Oh, sorry. How can we fight what we can't touch? Candy. What?
What's this? I see you have surrendered your candy to me, Robuds. Delectable.
He was after our candy the whole time. A fate worse than death. Hey, don't worry, Robuds.
What are you up to, old bluey boy?
It's just blue.
No! But I'm still a ghost!
How'd you do that? Everyone likes candy. Good job, Blue. Maybe you should lead us. He's right. I don't think so. I'm just here to fight bad guys and get candy. And I'm all out of candy. Go, Robots! From Bubble Hills to the vast open sea, protecting the people from A to Z. Here to fight, Skelly Men.
All right, welcome back. Let's talk about some things that are happening this first Friday. It's time for your first Friday art guide throughout the city of Missoula. Kicking things off was the 406 Cup Show happening at the Wildfire Ceramics Studio, not to be confused with the Clay Studio of Missoula. The Wildfire Ceramics is excited to announce its 4th annual 406 Cup Show. This will happen from about 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. All these art First Friday things all start about 5 p.m., go into about roughly 8 p.m. most of the places. The show aims to create and explore the tradition and innovation techniques artists are using to create ceramic cups today. They'll be at the 406, 406 handmade cups from all over the country on display and for sale in honor of Montana's area code 406. Yes, I think that's implied. All right, so Radius Gallery 11th annual holiday show is going to be happening pretty much throughout the month of November and December at the Radius Gallery. They have 150 participating artists, and the show is a celebration of Missoula's vibrant art community and emphasis on smaller, more affordable works of art through collectors and gift giving alike. Then we have graduates are doing their 8 is a Crowd at the Clay Studio of Missoula, featuring Sasha Barrett, Lane Chapman, Dexter Gardner, Carolyn Hansen, Anna Johnson, Colin Martin, Dylan Quackenbush, and Joe Taylor. As students of the University of Montana, the artists of the exhibit will share work of that reflects the commitment to the University of Montana Ceramics Department towards individual expression and experimentation, including in the show, which will be diverse representation of ceramics, including contemporary, Unitarian pottery, ceramic sculptures, and mixed media work. So a lot of stuff happening at the Clay Studio of Missoula. Then we have the Wren Hotel is hosting Nancy Whalestrom. This is going to be their art popping up. Local artist Whalestrom created beautiful stained glass mosaics using recycled glass frames and jewelry. Her abstract work are often inspired by materials themselves, with each piece inviting personal interpretation. The Missoula resident of 3 years, Nancy discovered her passion for mosaics during retirement and now works from her home studio. Then we got Remembrance, which is going to be at the artist shop. Bev Glukert is going to be featured. Print and mixed media by Bev will be featured from November 1st through the 30th of November at the artist shop. Then we got Dr. Jane Ash Poitras is going to be at the Missoula Art Museum, keeping the circle strong. They are a CMRCA member of the Order of Canada and Royal Canadian Academy of Arts, is a Canadian First Nations artist who lives in the Alberta area. She has received many honors as an internationally acclaimed visual artist and lecturer who has influenced a successive generation of artists and students. Then we got Alyssa English, is going to be at the Confluence Center, is a multidisciplinary artist, is interested in expressing the human experience and exploring what it means to be a human being. In her new show, Homecoming, her paintings are inspired by the essence of her soul and how our experiences shape us, our connection with the natural world around us, and intimacy of our relationship, grief, love, tension, and human connection. Indoors will also feature live music by Salsa Loca, and refreshments by Maria, free snacks, and more. So a lot of times the art installations that are happening in and around the Missoula area will feature drinks and hors d'oeuvres all over the place. And one of the places that also does it is Bernice's Bakery featuring Cassidy Malcolm. With a lens focused on the world's natural world, Cassidy believes in beautifully intertwines her passion for photography and the outdoors. Based in Missoula, Montana, her journey began amidst the scenic landscape of Washington State. While towering mountains and vibrant sunsets sparked her creative spirit, Cassidy connects with nature, fuels her work, as she believes humans are intrinsically linked to the earth's majestic rivers and forests. This drives her to capture fleeting moments that will never occur again. And you guys can capture those moments, and there's things that are happening at Bernice's Bakery. And then we have Insect Integra. This is Gallery 709, honoring insects and interwoven systems that keep us alive. Artwork in many forms by Courtney Blazon, Stephanie Frosted, Bev Glukert, Tracy Hall, Shannon Holmes, Nan Parson, Jennifer Thompson, and Diana Six. This is going to be a part of Bev Glukert's artist studio, a gallery inside the Montana Art and Framing. So this is an extension of not only just Bev Glukert, but many artists are going to be featured at 709 Ronan Street at the art store. And then finally, we have our last one, which is going to be at Dana Gallery. This is Robert Moore, Into Abstraction. Robert joined us for an opening reception during First Friday Art Walk. In addition, he will deliver a 6x8 foot autumn landscape fresh off his easel. Don't miss the debut of his masterpiece, painted in his signature in impressionistic style. And this is from 5 to 8 p.m. It's his first ever abstract exhibited at Dana Gallery. So you get it on the ground floor. There's a lot of stuff happening in and around the downtown Missoula area. Stay warm out there. We have actually a fun video by our own, and since we're on the topic of art, Robert Peltzer made a music video, and I wanted to give him a shout out and show him a little taste of this for you guys to enjoy. All right, and there you get a little taste of his homage to Mongolian with his music video Distant Lands. It is on his YouTube channel titled Weasel. So you guys can check that out and more. I want to jump right in and talk a little bit more about what's happening in and around Missoula and beyond. And we are about 4 days away from the election, and far be it from me to convince you of one side or the other. We live in Missoula, and it tends to skew a little bit more to the left, while the rest of the state tends to more with the right, as our state will most likely be guaranteed a Trump victory in the state, with John Tester's seat up for the Senate. Whether or not he can hold on to the seat will be clear as the ballots are counted. Overall, Montana could see their own version of ranked choice voting that will change the landscape and allow for more independent voices to rise without party backing. Another one in regards to codifying abortion rights within the Constitution of the state of Montana, a petition that has been out there all summer long to get people to get this initiative on the ballot, and the people will finally get a say in whether or not they want to protect abortion rights or outright let the ban continue in the state of Montana. But Montana has been a turning point over the last 5 years, with new residents moving to Montana at what were some reports at a 3-to-1 ratio of conservative voices to liberal ones. Many influence over the last legislation came under national scrutiny when Missoula Regional Rep Zoe Zephyr was silenced by the majority House members and worked next to the snack bar in Helena's Capitol. Excuse me. They actually released a New Yorker documentary based on her experiences, Seat 13. I highly suggest you guys check that out. It's very interesting, kind of portrayal of behind the scenes of an act that got her basically banned from the legislation chambers, except for online, as it was during the pandemic. So anyways, one of the biggest issues coming out around this last session was the impact on our taxes, and property taxes increased, while other large businesses saw a decrease in their tax burden, and whether this is going to shift the scale seems inevitable. But then again, Montana has kept its current status quo for some time now. It's all I wanted to mention as we went to the election, since many Montanans have already sent their ballots in. According to the Daily Montanans this week, nearly 300,000 votes have been sent in. Early voting numbers updates the Montana Secretary of State office every evening show that voters have returned 284,327 absentee ballots to local elections as of Tuesday. 54% of all absentee ballots issued. Oh, geez, I should get some water, but I'm almost toward the end of my show. I can make it. And Montana currently has 787,573 registered voters, a 4.6 increase over the 2020 general election. This last presidential election saw 81% of eligible voters vote in the last election. Montana definitely has one of the most voter turnouts per capita, and veterans per capita than more places in the United States. Receiving absentee ballots prior to Election Day helps local elections office prepare for the processing of counting Montana votes. Perhaps I can give my input, as voting has become such an undertaking for larger communities, and perhaps someday a deadline over single-day voting could be beneficial for all wannabe voters. And you know, some places are dealing with ballot box vandalism. This week saw a short story around Portland, Oregon, where the ballot box that were dropped off were set up in flames. Hundreds of ballots were burned in Vancouver, a small city in Washington state, less than 10 miles from Portland, with local media reporting that a device was stuck to the outside of the ballot drop box. Dedicated ballot drop boxes are used in a number of U.S. states and cities to allow voters to submit their ballots early without having to wait in a queue. On Election Day, Missoula has stamp fee mailers for their ballots. So if you are interested, you can send your absentee ballot through the mail without it having to go into those ballot boxes, which are currently located at I want to say Wyoming, on the corner of Wyoming and Russell Street, which is the elections office in the Missoula area. That is the main place where people can go. Many schools will be hosting Election Day, voter ballot stuff. Sorry, I'm very distracted because I'm worried I'm going to cough, and my eyes are watering just because I've been coughing too much. And trying not to cough makes me want to cough more. But anyways, the background has to do with the highly contested seat, which is currently held by Democrat Mary Gluckenkamp Perez, who eked out a victory over Republican Joe Kent in less than 1% of the vote in 2022. This has to do with the regional area in which these ballot boxes were set ablaze. And also last week, Phoenix, Arizona, a man was charged with setting a U.S. Post box on fire that contained 20 ballots according to record courts. I just wanted to kind of mention those things. There's just a lot of things happening in and around the United States as we get closer to the election. It feels as though there's a lot of tension being built around this, and it's definitely spilling out into some of these acts of vandalism. So as we rein it back into a little bit more Missoula, I got some good news. NeighborWorks, the organization here in the city of Missoula, is at it again as a trailer park is going into residential ownership. Hellgate Village is a manufactured home community behind the obscure location behind the gas station trading post known as the Hellgate Store, aka Trading Post, has hosted renters for many years, and now many of these folks will be able to own their property around it due to the collective efforts facilitated through NeighborWorks. For those of you who don't know, NeighborWorks was created to help trailer parks and various large empty lots with owned mobile homes get their rights to the land they live on. Trailers were used to have to build built-in affordability housing functions over the last years as a cheap way of getting around property taxes and offer a cheap alternative for folks getting into low barrier housing and easy retirement for many. NeighborWorks Montana worked with the community in the Hellgate Village neighborhood to help negotiate the purchase, set up a cooperative elected first board and review new bylaws and policies. ROC acquisition is meant to pool resources to buy out the landlords and create a buffer for developers purchasing lots for development. Since the last legislation, space between trailers have gotten even smaller for future development of lots for intent of establishing manufactured housing. Old Hellgate Village received a $2.8 million loan from the state's Coal Trust Multifamily Home Loan Program and a $300,000 loan from NeighborWorks Montana to cover the $2.5 million purchase and other project costs. While they'll be paying more for their living situation, the money will actually go towards owning rather than renting, thus generational wealth can kind of take hold. I grew up next to the site and enjoyed visiting the gas station regularly for all the convenience store options away from a lot of amenities roughly 2 miles away from the trading post and trailer park. So so as we move on, we have a little bit more time in the show. I'm going to talk about some more events that you guys are missing out on this week. Lifelong Learning Center is doing their regular pickleball education classes. They have intermediate at around 11 o'clock, but then they have their beginning pickleball at 8:30 this morning. Roughly, they do this pretty they always have a new class every month. Always check it out. Lifelong Learning Center is doing a whole bunch of classes today and this weekend that you guys can check out as well. Stroller Strides, Mommy and Me workout class at Bonner Park at 9:30. This is a daily occurrence at Bonner Park at 9:30 a.m. Missoula Food Bank meal distribution at 10. This goes until about 1 p.m. Most Fridays. Tuesdays and Thursdays are the longer days. You can check that out. Missoula Food Bank. Tiny Tales is happening every Friday. This is a great way for kids to learn to read and also do some free activities courtesy of the Missoula Public Library. Lunch at the Missoula Senior Center at 11:30 a.m. This is a Monday through Friday type deal to check it out and get some nutritious lunch. I believe they're about $8 for a whole lunch type deal, and they work at a loss from what I hear. So annual used book sale, like I mentioned earlier in the show, the Fort Missoula is doing a used book sale at Heritage Hall at Fort Missoula at noon today, and it'll be going on all weekend long. Yarns and watercolor every Friday from at noon on the 4th floor of the Missoula Public Library. We also have a fall scavenger hunt at the Missoula Public Library. Explore the library, pick up a library scavenger hunt sheet at the 2nd floor and start searching. Follow the clues and to find letters hidden throughout the library. The scavenger hunt will take you on a mission to find all the art at the library and piece it together their clues to find the answer to get the prize. Tend and Traditions of the Plains. The Wilma Theater is starting off the celebration of Native American Heritage Month. All Nations Health Center is excited to announce the integral trends and traditions of the Plains Indians Film Fest and Fashion Show. This unique Indigenous-led event hosted by All Nations Health Center, Indigenous Made Montana, and Corey K Productions is the first of its kind in the Missoula Valley in western Montana. Will feature a dynamic showcase of Indigenous films, fashion, and culture, highlighting the rich traditions of contemporary innovations of Plains Indigenous people. Lego Club at 2:30 every Friday at the Missoula Public Library. Happy Hour at the Carousel. This is a great way to get some cheap 2-for-1 riding deals for the carousel. The second fastest carousel in the nation, as they like to pat themselves on the back for. And then at 5 p.m. the University of Montana, Sandra Day O'Connor, first cowgirl on the court. Last call for registration. This is a Molly special education event. This is for usually mostly retired folks. Molly is an event for Many, including the New York Times, call her the most powerful woman in America, but Sandra Day O'Connor thought it differently, referring to herself as more humbly as the first cowboy on the U.S. Supreme Court. And so you got to learn more about her and with the instructor Constance Van Clee, and this is going to be part of their ongoing education program through the Molly program at the University of Montana. All Saints celebration, University Congregational Church at 5 p.m. As we are getting into more of the holistic parts of Halloween, All Saints, and all the kind of stuff, which it also includes the Day of the Dead, which culminates on November 2nd, which I'll get into for the event on the Day of Remembrance, which is tomorrow. Rhino Ross Art Night. The Rhino Bar is hosting an art night at 6 p.m. tonight. We got some jazz at the Old Post, Night Blooming Jasmine at 7 p.m. Student night, dress rehearsal, Edge of a Dream is going to be at 7 p.m. At dress rehearsal, which apparently is a new place. You can check that out, MissoulaEvents.net. Spicy Lore Cabaret and Costume Party at the Free Cycles at 7 p.m. tonight. Wolf and the Moons at Imagination Brewing Company playing folk music. Bluegrass at Crankysam Barnyard Country Band at 7:30 p.m. Both Sides Now National Tour at the West Side Theater. Within these words, we are drawn to the into the world of Both Sides Now, a theatrical concert that explores music and lives of longtime friends and one-time lovers. Joni Mitchell and Leonard Cohen is going to be at West Side Theater at 7:30 p.m. tonight. Tanner Laws behind the Tyler Barnard is going to be playing some country music at Sunrise Saloon tonight at 9 p.m. Tomcats is going to be at Union Club at 9 p.m. And Latin Nights with Big Lou at the Top Hat is going to be playing some salsa at 10:15 p.m. at the Top Hat, wrapping up your Friday night. As we get into the weekend, no more Saturday markets and such, and I haven't heard too much about those winter markets, which will be starting up sometime soon at the Southgate Mall. Not to mention Orchard Homes will be starting to pick up some of the slack as well for the winter markets, but it seems this weekend there's not much going on except for many of the other things, which includes the Family Fun Time at Missoula Gymnastics. We got Grizz Preview Day. The prospective student interested in applying at the University of Montana, are you planning to visit campus this fall? They're doing a Grizz Preview Day at 9 a.m. on Saturday at the University of Montana. Grace UMC Harvest Bazaar. This is Grace United Methodist Church. They're doing a fundraiser at 9 a.m. Preschool playtime is going to be at Roots Acres Sports Center at 9:15 p.m. Ornament creation event at Missoula Public Library at 10 a.m. Makers Space walk-in hours at 10 a.m. here at the Missoula Public Library. Missoula Jumbo Elk Ramble 15K. The Hellgate Soccer Field is 10 a.m. on Saturday. Vintage Craft Sale is at St. Anthony Parish at 10 a.m. starting tomorrow. Story time at Missoula Public Library every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. We got Museum Tour at Missoula Art Museum at 11 a.m. They got some new art happening tonight, so you guys can check that out. Then we have Iris Von Moxie is going to be that Zach doing a fundraiser for them as well at the Zootown Arts Community Center. 1 p.m. MCAT Saturday drop-ins from 1 to 3 p.m. Kids get to do stop animation, make movies, and learn to edit. Dia de los Muertos multi-day traditional celebration at the Confluence Center at 3 p.m. D&D Guild for Teens. This is Dungeons & Dragons. This is Missoula Public Library online at 3 p.m. Predator Feed at Missoula Butterfly House Saturday at 3:30 p.m. It's a great way to learn about butterflies and insects and more. Finding Nemo Kids is going to be being performed live at Missoula Children's Theater at 5 p.m. at 7 p.m. at the Missoula Children's Theater. Downtown Missoula, they're doing a process down honoring those that we have lost. This is the Honoring the Dead celebration of life. This used to be called the Day of the Dead Parade, and so this is what's going to happen. You start at 6 p.m. They'll be doing a walk, and they'll hopefully go down to Karis Park and do a nice drumming. And so those are some of the things that are happening this weekend. I've run out of time, and I want to thank you guys for joining me. And for Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Ramph.